So today we're talking to Adrian Sparks, the chief winemaker of Mount Pleasant Wines in the Hunter Valley. One of those great distinguished vineyards in the Hunter Valley, and they of course are one of the Real Review's top wineries of Australia 2022. Congratulations, Adrian, and welcome to the Real Review.
Thank you, Huon. It's good to be here again. Thank you.
And congratulations on all of the changes that have been happening at Mount Pleasant. It's been a time of incredible change, hasn't it? Would you, perhaps we could run through some of the changes. You now have a new owner who is injecting quite a bit of money into the business, which I guess was much needed, wasn't it?
Yeah, May 21 last year, Anthony and Roy Medic took ownership of Mount Pleasant. It's been a whirlwind sort of 14, 15 months now. Full renovations of our cellar door with a completely new experience in there. Tastings all with food, complimentary, which has rejuvenated our cellar door and the team. Vineyards have needed a lot of work for a long time, and we've taken the initiative there and really got stuck into upholding and making sure that those vines that are 100 years old, 140 years old are around for the same amount of time in the future. The wineries received some much needed sorting equipment. It's pretty incredible that we've made the wines that we've been able to make with, the archaic sort of equipment that we had. So just modernising everything, making sure that we've got all the tools available so we can, keep recreating for many, many years.
It's an interesting phenomenon when someone new buys into the wine industry who has no experience of the wine industry, and especially when they take on an iconic property like Mount Pleasant. People are always going to say, well, what do they know about wine? And they're going to make a mess of it. That's not what I hear from you. I hear you're very positive. What do the Medic family bring to Mount Pleasant?
Definitely a sense of enthusiasm. They love the Hunter. They've been coming up here for years. Anthony's wife, mother's good friends with Phil Ryan's wife. So they know the Hunter very well. They're passionate about land, they're passionate about the environment, and they bring a renewed enthusiasm to the place, which was sort of waning during the administration process under McWilliams. But they've read, researched, spoke to a lot of people, fully investing themselves in the industry. They've supported the Morris O'Shea Awards, which were held a month ago. Fully appreciative of what's happened and what the future looks like, and they want to be a part of it. They've got a real sense of community and spirit, and so it's really positive. And everyone here is very, very optimistic about the future, and we didn't have those feelings 18 months ago.
Well, it's fantastic to see, and it's been a long time coming, I guess. The McWilliams ownership had its good points, of course, but towards the end, I guess things fell apart a bit. So the Medicis really have come along like the knight in shining armour.
Yeah, I'll tell him you said that.
Well, we'll see what happens, but everything looks so positive, doesn't it, for a new golden era for Mount Pleasant?
Yeah, I mean, we celebrated 100 years last year since Morris O'Shea purchased the property in 1921 and named it Mount Pleasant, and definitely setting ourselves up for the next 100, making sure that one of Australia's greatest houses is not lost. And there were some times where at the back end of the administration through the last few years it got very tough, but we've come out the other side, and we're all very excited to see what the future holds.
Yeah, and beside me I've got one of my favourite Mount Pleasant wines with its new label, new packaging. And it's the OP and OH 2021, which is Old Paddock and Old Hill, of course. The old Paddock being, 100 years old last year, was planted by Morris O'Shea, and the Old Hill was quite mature vineyard before even Morris came along, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, to have a vineyard in 1921 that was already 41 years old is pretty unreal. I mean, people would take 41-year-old vineyards any day of the week these days. But a real great blend, a real classic blend for the Hunter Valley. It's been around since the 50s, 60s, and a real staple of what we do best. those new labels have been really minimised, and we put the O'Shea family crest back onto the label where it should be, because it was O'Shea who started the place and got it going, and we need to pay all our respects to that.
Yes. So the old hill is 1880 planted, so very, very old vines, as you say. But some of the much more recently planted vines have actually got old and had to be replaced, didn't they? So what is it about the old hill that just keeps plugging on so well when some of the younger vines just haven't lasted the distance?
It was unirrigated up until 2002. So 122 years of doing it tough, I suppose, establishing itself, going through droughts, going through heavy rains. And it's one of those beautiful sites, sits on top of the ridge, sheltered from the afternoon sun by the Broken Back Range. I mean, it's a magical site, really. One of the greatest views in the Hunter Valley. And, you know, a root system that would at least 3 metres deep from the cuts that have been happening in that hill. But just an amazing place, a real sort of, it's got a mysterious air about it. When you go up there, it's a magical spot.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the style of Hunter Shiraz, which to me is one of the great styles of red wine in the world, but you wouldn't say that it's necessarily comparable to something from the Rhone Valley, although maybe it is when it's mature. I had a 30-year-old bottle of 92 Hunter Shiraz the other day, which was outstanding, and a lot of people thought it was the Northern Rhone wine. How do you think the Hunter style sits in the pantheon of world wine? I find it a very distinctive style. Do you?
Yeah, O'Shea purchased the land here at Mount Pleasant based on the fact that it reminded him of the Northern Rhone. Climate slightly different. However, the Hunter Valley's been renowned for its savoury, medium-bodied wines, with this freakish ability to age like no other. Some of the wines that we've all managed to try, what you just said, age so beautifully and so wonderfully. It's a real testament to the region that we're in. There's a real distinctive sense of place when you try all wines from the Hunter. There's a classic Hunter Valley earthy note about all our wines, and it tells the story of where it's from, and that's really important.
I think let's talk a little bit about Semion as well, because that's the other great variety of the Hunter. I mean, Chardonnay is outstanding as well, but Semion is perhaps more unique or more specific to the Hunter. Very few places make great Semion and dry white Semion in the world. What is it about the Hunter? You can pick the grapes so early, at sort of 10 or 11 degrees Beaume, and make a low alcohol wine which tastes ripe. It doesn't taste green. It's a beautiful wine that ages so well. It's a unique combination, isn't it, of climate or terroir and variety?
Yeah, I think the word unique is a great one, because there's not too many wine styles that come out of Australia that are completely unique to Australia. There's a lot of mimicking done of Bordeaux and Burgundy and the Rhone, but Hunter Sem bottled after 3 months, and all that complexity and amazement that comes through all comes from the bottle. All those toasty notes are derived from bottle age rather than oak. It's a truly amazing wine, probably dictated by the weather, the climate up here, picked a little bit earlier, but with our heat and humidity, especially humidity, I think it enhances photosynthesis, which causes flavour ripeness slightly earlier than sugar ripeness. So we get these beautiful lemon, lime flavours coming in at lower Beaumes than you'd see around the country, which sort of helps the aging, those lower alcohol wines. If you picked 11 Beaumes Semion across any other region in Australia, it'd be capsicum juice. But we're very fortunate to have that environment where we get that flavour ripeness slightly early, so we can make these beautiful, delicate wines that stand the test of time and look great 5, 10, 15, 20 years later.
Yeah. So you're doing a great job, I think, Adrian, and I'm excited about the future for Mount Pleasant. Great to have you on the program. Thanks for joining us today, and congratulations again on being in the top wineries of Australia 2022. Adrian Sparks, Chief Winemaker, Mount Pleasant Wines, Hunter Valley. Thank you.
Thank you, Huon.